You have the clip from Pelosi on China with tariffs. This is in 1996. Folks, if you've never seen this, you have to see this. Pelosi is talking about tariffs on how China, this is it, Rob. Watch this, no, but it's 5 minutes and 42 seconds.
I'll find a shorter
There's
version.
a shorter one, Rob. How long is that one?
That's the same.
Is it the same thing? Well, let's see how quickly she gets into it. Let's see how quickly I found one that is, let me see if this is the one.
You want to go where she's at the chart?
Do you have the chart?
I think if you click like a minute into it, it shows her at the chart.
How far does China...
That's it. Okay, go back a little bit. Perfect. Go for it. Watch this, folks.
On the status quo that the business community is asking each and every one of you, each and every one of us to endorse today. Right now, we have a $34 billion trade deficit with China, the 1995 figure. It will be over $40 billion for 1996. Since the Tiananmen Square massacre, this figure has increased 1,000%, from $3.5 billion then to about $34 billion now. In terms of tariffs, I think it's interesting to note that the average U.S. MFN tariff on Chinese goods coming into the United States is 2%, whereas the average Chinese MFN tariff on U.S. goods going into China is 35%. Is that reciprocal? On exports, China only allows certain industries into China, of U.S. Industries into China, and therefore only 2% of U.S. exports are allowed into China. On the other hand, the U.S. allows China to flood our markets with a third of their exports, and that'll probably go over 40%. And it's limitless because we have not placed any restriction. In terms of jobs, this is the biggest and cruelest hoax of all. Not only do we not have market access, not only do they have prohibitive tariffs, not only are our exports not let in very specifically, but China benefits with at least 10 million jobs from U.S.-China trade.
We gave him
the
those
president
jobs.
in his statement requesting this special waiver said that China trade
96.
supports 170,000 jobs in the United States, 170,000 jobs, whereas our imports from China support 10 million jobs at least. Fact is that U.S.-China trade is a job loser. And one of the reasons that it is because well, first let me just make another point, and that is that our colleagues on the other side of this issue will say the trade with China, exports to China have increased 3 times in the last 10 years. They have. But they fail to mention that imports from China have increased 11 times, thereby leading to this huge trade deficit. The other issue, in addition, if intellectual property...
So, and then she gets into intellectual and a bunch of different things. This is Democrat Nancy Pelosi, 96, talking about what's going on with China. And if you go back and listen to what Trump said on Oprah Winfrey in 1988, when they talked about tariffs, that's exactly what he's been talking about. Trump's been talking about this with Oprah Winfrey since 1988. Is this a clip on tariffs?
Yes.
Go for it, Rob. Watch this, folks.
Foreign policy. What would you do differently, Don?
Watch this.
I'd make our allies, forgetting about the enemies you can't talk to so easily.
Brilliant.
I'd make our allies pay their fair share. We're a debtor nation. Something's going to happen over the next number of years with this country, because you can't keep going on losing $200 billion, and yet we let Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade. If you ever go to Japan right now and try to sell something, forget about it, Oprah. Just forget about it. It's almost impossible. They don't have laws against it. They just make it impossible. They come over here, they sell their cars, their VCRs, they knock the hell out of our companies. And, hey, I have tremendous respect for the Japanese people. I mean, you can respect somebody that's beating the hell out of you, but they are beating the hell out of this country. Kuwait, they live like kings. The poorest person in Kuwait, they live like kings. And yet they're not paying. We make it possible for them to sell their oil. Why aren't they paying us 25% of what they're making? It's a joke.
This sounds like
pause it right there.
Political, presidential
Pause it right there.
talk.
So the people that say Trump is, he's just hard, he's doing this, he's doing that. Yeah, he's been on this position with tariffs since 1988. Tom, your thoughts here with what's going on with China, the tariffs, as well as the clip we played with Nancy Pelosi.
Wow, there's a whole bunch of stuff. First of all, I'll take the easy one. The easy one is Nancy Pelosi. This is Nancy Pelosi in what I call PG mode, which I stand for as pre-globalist. As she moved to globalism, all of those positions you just say shifted away. This isn't Nancy in history. This is a different Nancy. This was Nancy truly looking out for the American worker, and a lot of union dollars were in that gold necklace there. A lot of union support was in her campaigns there. And when you move to a globalist agenda, you realize the truth that they subtly moved away from supporting America's unions, and they took money from other things. So Nancy's easy. She moved to a globalist agenda. That sounds like Trump, because it does sound like Trump. Now then, we go to China today. I find it very interesting that Vietnam, Taiwan, and Cambodia, the little tigers that were all wanting to help during COVID. I don't know if you remember, but they all spoke up and says, we'll help you with supply chains. We'll see what we could do. You know why? They wanted market share of that manufacturing. They're not saluting China, especially Taiwan. It's like, hey, we'll help you out. We'll manufacture. So Vietnam, Taiwan, and Cambodia. And last night, Scott Bessent told Fox News it wasn't 50 countries, it was 70 countries that were ready to discuss, and that Japan had raised its hand early, and so it was going to be one of the first to the table. Because you raised your hand first, you came to the first. Guess what? You get to meet the teacher first. So I think there's a lot of international market share of manufacturing that's responding here. Now, the market likes that. Today, the market's up 3%. Everything's up 3% across the board. And before the market even opened today, the VIX was from 49 down to 41. And right now, I think, somebody help me, I think the VIX is 38. Meaning that the volatility as measured by the inside of the market of the intensity, there it is, 38. The intensity of the market trading and change has dropped 10 points overnight. Why? Because the market loves what it heard from Vietnam, Taiwan, Cambodia, and the number 70 and the word Japan from Scott. Now then, that does not yet help the American worker. What will help the American worker is when the jobs come here, and that's a multifaceted issue that Trump is fighting. But the market likes it when we get back to some people cooperating. And by the way, you know who Ursula von der Leyen is? She's the president of the EU Commission. And she goes out and makes speeches when Macron and people don't want to make, because remember, they face the wrath of the media and the populace. So Macron comes out, makes a statement supporting Trump on tariffs. Look out, he's going to get slaughtered in the press, and the people are going to be pissed. But Ursula von der Leyen, President EU Commission, can say to China this morning, she said it 2.5 hours ago, I saw it, we had a phone call with China, and I spoke to the premier, and I cautioned them strongly on responding irrationally and too roughly to what President Trump is doing. So that is a very large trading market with China, calling them on the phone through their president of the EU Commission to say, hey, man, easy does it, to just translate that. So that's what I think is going on right now. China's got to come to the bargaining table, but there's multiple facets here that encourage me a lot.